Alright guys, welcome back. We've got something interesting to do today. I want to look at these two games. Might and Magic Elemental Guardians by Ubisoft and, there it is, Summoner's War by Come2Us. You might have seen a lot of people lately putting out YouTube videos on Might and Magic, or, watching your favorite streamer and they're like, okay, I'm going to switch over to Might and Magic. Or even watching me and I switch over to Might and Magic sometimes. It's a kind of a newish game in the style of Summoner's War, and I wanted to talk about the similarities, the differences, how it works compared to Summoner's War, and what you can expect if you are interested in getting into it. I've been playing it for a little over a week, and I've been really enjoying it. I think part of that might be because it's so new, and in Summoner's War, when I first cleared the scenario and I was trying to get a Giants 10 team, it was a very different feeling from farming Giants 10 for a 20 speed roll. It's a very different experience, and so I'm super early game in Might and Magic, and that has got my attention because it requires a lot of thought and work and theory crafting, whereas in Summoner's War I'm not really at that point anymore. So that's kind of my basis for comparison between the two games. I can't compare endgame to endgame because I am not endgame in Might and Magic, not even close. So let's cover the basics. I've got a few notes here that I think will kind of sum up the differences and the similarities for people who are trying to decide if they want to start in this game, or if they're good in Summoner's War, or just are curious. So let's take a look. First of all, in Might and Magic, you've got your creatures. It's very, very similar to Summoner's War in a lot of respects. A lot of this will seem very familiar to you, which was kind of nice for me. I didn't have to relearn how to put in a rune or upgrade a rune, or like, why is this rune not upgrading? Like, I know why. Like, I know that pain. So these are your monsters at the bottom here. One thing to note is 1-star monsters are the base level, just like in Summoner's War. Then 2-star monsters, 3-star monsters, and 4-star monsters are the max. Man, I have a bunch of monsters. So these are our little 1-star monsters. There's no 5-star, natural 5-star, and there's no ability to 6-star anything. They still use the star system. The ranking up from a 2-star monster to a 3-star monster will feel very, very similar. You need 2-star monsters to make a max level 2-star monster, 3-star monster. Same kind of deal. But then once you get to a max 5-star monster, you're done. All the levels are the same. 30 is the max of a 4-star monster, 25 is the max of a 3-star monster, etc. But that's the main difference. So when you hear someone saying, oh, I pulled a 4-star, you're like, oh, great, you got a Garrow. No, that's the rare one. That's the rarest it gets in this game. So these are how the stars work. What's really, really interesting in this game that I think is a main difference from Summoner's War is there's no light or dark element. There are 4 elements that work in a big elemental advantage circle, but there's no light and dark. So even if you pay to win like crazy in this game, there's not that next level of, mortgage your house to try to get an LD-Nat 5. Like, everyone will have access to the same 4 main elements to work with, which is kind of nice. There's no, total branch of monsters that people can play for years and years and years and maybe still not even know what they do. They're so rare. There's not that next tier of rarity that there is in Summoner's War. So that's kind of nice. So 4 elements, they all kind of work in a circle. What I find interesting about that is I've had to build multiple healers in multiple elements just for the elemental disadvantage. Elemental disadvantage is kind of a big deal. Like, it hurts really bad. And I remember it did in Summoner's War early game as well. But in this one, it's really something to keep in mind. So that's the big difference in the monsters. You can see there's 6 rune slots. Let's see here. There's no violent runes. That's the one kind of thing that people talk about as, the big selling point. Oh, there's no violent runes. I'm not going to get proc to death. That's true. There's a crazy amount of other runes, though, to the point where it might be too much. Like violence, strength, frenzy, defense, haste, precision, destruction, endurance, lifesteal, appeasement, meditation, immunity. I mean, I know it's probably similar to Summoner's War, and maybe it's just so early for me that I'm not used to them, but there's a lot going on here. The appeasement set in particular is interesting because it's a bonus to healing, so you only use it on healers, and it makes them heal better, which I think is fun. The meditation is the closest to violent, I think, in that it gives you a chance to cool down your skills faster, so it has that aspect of violent on it, but it doesn't give you another turn. So it doesn't double dip like the violent runes kind of do. They don't. If violent runes didn't cool down, it would be another turn, but it'd be another skill 1. Whereas the turn cooldown is what makes them so great. So this plays off of that turn cooldown, but does not give you an actual extra turn. So There's bonus to accuracy, bonus to speed. Speed is still super important in this game, I'm finding. And then vitality is also really important early game. The way the rune sets work is 3 runes make a set, and then you get a bonus. So like for instance, this is my little healer right now. She's got, you can see at the bottom here, an HP set plus 20% and a speed set plus 10% because she's got a haste set, or I think it's what it's called, and a vitality set as well. So that's how that works. Kind of fun. I haven't seen, I think the set bonuses are so strong, at least early, that I have not seen broken as being a viable thing to do. The substats aren't crazy early game. I think they get more and more crazy as you get better and better runes. So like here's a speed rune that I rolled up to plus 10. You can see all these substats: crit damage, attack, percent, attack flat, HP percent. What's interesting in this is that you can roll the same stat as your main stat. So that makes for an interesting kind of interplay. Let's see if I can find one. I don't know where one is in particular. But like if you get a speed rune and you roll a speed substat, that's pretty fantastic. So here's an example. It's a flat defense with a flat defense substat. So if you want to really stack, you have that option. Whereas in Summoner's War, we're limited to 4 substats. These runes are, I think it's 6. So there's lots and lots of substats you can get on the runes. It's kind of interesting. So it allows a little bit more mathy play there. So kind of fun. Okay, so Devilmon is the other thing I want to touch on. There's no Devilmon in this game per se. There's what's called books, and books are used for a couple different things. So let's look at this little guy here. Upgrade. So when he evolves, this is him. He's a basilisk. And when you upgrade him with, you can see 3 books over here. 3 books. And a bunch of other stuff, just like in Summoner's War. He'll evolve, and his first skill will change. So this is either attacks based on his speed, or increases self-speed for 1 turn. So I think every monster gets a unique skill 1 effect when they evolve. And then they get a different look. So this is him when he evolves up. So you're going to get a bonus to their attack or something like that, some sort of effect, and then they'll get better stats. So the thing that's a little weird right now is it's random which one you get, and it's tough luck whatever you get. So if you really want one or the other, there's nothing you can do about it right now. Apparently there's something in the works to fix that, but currently, you know, you get what you get and you don't throw a fit. So that's what's going on with the books. The other thing you can use with the books is for skill ups. So let's take another look here. Here's his skills. You can see the skill ups over here: damage, effect turns, cooldown time, and that sort of thing. Every skill up takes 1 book, and it says 4 leaf. It'll take 4 green monsters plus a book. So to upgrade a green guy, you could do 4 green monsters and a book. So it's like, I don't know how to describe it. It gives a use to all the 1-star monsters, where in Summoner's War there's no use. So I think that was kind of a clever idea. So that's kind of the basics on how books and that sort of things work. The other thing I want to show you, this is very, very familiar to people who play Summoner's War. It's the scenarios. You clear it on normal, advanced, and nightmare. Same thing. These are your, you know, elemental dungeons, your glyph dungeons, so where you get, you know, all your runes, your good runes. And then this is your Tower of Ascension, basically. Tower of Trials, same kind of deal. This is stuff that can open at certain points. This opened at one point for a special event. I thought that was kind of neat. This is where you farm your non-elemental specific goodies. So let's take a look at this real quick. Here's a team. I'm kind of leveling them up as I go. The thing I want to look at here is the buffs and debuffs in this game. Coming from Summoner's War and being used to that, it's overwhelming the amount of buffs and debuffs. Like, I don't know what they all do. I don't know how to get them or how to take them off half the time. But you can see, okay, we start off normal. Increased attack, increased defense, increased speed, accuracy, resistance. And, you know, it just goes. Those are the positive ones. Here come the negative ones. Oh my goodness. It's so much. And it goes and goes and goes. So there's a million different ways to do similar things. I'm not sure if that's good or bad yet. I feel like that Summoner's War is pretty simple in terms of understanding how the buffs and debuffs work. Like, I know when I get, you know, heal blocked, I know what's going on there. But if there's like 4 or 5 different kind of variations on that, that might be a little much. So I don't know how that's going to be in the end game. But I think there's the potential to break the game more. Like, if there's a bajillion buffs and you overload on one thing and you do a version of something that protects people from removing that thing, then, you know, suddenly, I don't know, it might be a little overpowered. But we'll see. We'll see. Okay, the only other main thing that's a little different is your summoner dude. You can see my guy back here. See this little guy? I don't know if I can show you. See, here's my mouse. See this little guy here? That's my little summoner caster dude. And he's interesting. He is basically like kind of like my glory towers. I'm not sure that's, or maybe like my leader skill is more accurate. He is you can change his skills to kind of suit your team composition. So mine right now is a nuker for whatever reason. He just nukes. But you can get more of a support guy or something like that. So you can tailor him to whatever you want. I don't currently know exactly what the best route is. Nuker seemed okay. Some people farm with him on lower levels and only him, so that's kind of neat. I'll probably look into him a little bit more in the future. The other thing that's big is that there's no glory towers and there's no arena or guild towers. So there's no 2-year grind requirement to be competitive. Not that anyone would be that far ahead right now since the game's so new, but that's kind of a neat thing. I think that might make it more inviting to newer players, maybe. I don't know. Or maybe, you know, everybody will be too similar and it'll be a problem, or I don't know. But that's interesting. It's something different. It's a main difference you need to know. There's no massive glory grind for towers. That being said, there's not a ton of great options to spend your glory on. I'm going to let this finish and then we'll go take a look at that. You can buy a book every 3 days, which is kind of nice. So two and change Devilmon-ish things a week. And then I don't know what else to buy what to buy. I've been buying just the really low summoning stones so I can get 1-star monsters for skill ups because I'm kind of low on those. I don't know. It's a tough call. The main thing that I think they're going to work on, I assume, but Summoner's War has got them beat cold on, is the endgame PvP. They're a new game, so there's not a lot of people at endgame, which makes sense. But there's no live PvP. There's only the arena, like regular arena, like in Summoner's War, where you are attacking into AIs that have been set in advance. There's no leader skills, so you don't have that little interplay, and you don't have that advantage for monsters. I think leader skills are great in Summoner's War. They bring value to units that maybe don't have great value otherwise. They help you kind of tune their value. So that's another thing I think Summoner's War is doing a much better job on. Okay, so we cleared the dungeon, got a little XP, got some evolution materials. Yay. So the arena is broken up into tiers, which I think is kind of neat. So let's take a look here. So here's my league. I'm in Bronze 1 League. These are the leaders of my league. There's 3 people. These 3 guys. Now here's me. I am right here, number 15 in my league. You can see my win percentage, the massive amount of battles I fought, and the ranking. So if you go down, there's this line here that says players that will be promoted. If you're above that line, in the end of this season, which is in a day and 4 hours, I'm moving on to Bronze 2. I don't know if that's good or not. That's probably not great for me, but we'll see. If you go below a certain line, here, you're being demoted to beginner, I think, whatever that is. So it's like a soccer relegation kind of a thing, which I think is neat. It doesn't let you farm a certain low amount and then shoot all the way up to the top for the end of season rewards. You got to be in that league to get those rewards. So these guys at the top get 85, those are seals, and 35,000 mana, but they're locked at that as their maximum reward. If they want better rewards, they have to league up a couple times in a row and then go fight other people that are going for those rewards. So that's a great way to kind of get rid of the griefing in Summoner's War. And it also, it kind of gives you a smaller pool of players. You're like, oh, I moved up 1 rank on that guy, and you can always check. It's like everyone's on the leaderboard. It's just you're on the leaderboard of Bronze 1 versus, I don't even know what the higher leagues are, God Mode 1 or whatever. So that's how the PvP works, but it's all against static defenses. So if you pick a thing and you look at this setup and you don't like it, you get to view next. You get 5 looks, and once you're out of looks and you've seen everybody you want to see and you don't like any of them, then you got to pay the in-game resource to refresh, or you can wait half an hour. The league seasons are fairly short. I think 1 league ended like maybe earlier this week. It's like a couple days. It's not that long. I don't want to say exactly and be incorrect, but the league seasons are fairly short. So that's kind of how the PvP works there. So I hope that to me was the main differences between the 2 games. You know, Summoner's War is doing a great job on the PvP side of things, especially the Guild Wars content, the RTA content. but Might and Magic's not doing horrible in a lot of different spots. They've got some good ideas that, you know, they took a crazy amount from Summoner's War, right, to make their game. And I wouldn't be upset if Summoner's War took some of the ideas from them to refresh their game a little bit, you know? Like, what's going on in Summoner's War for me as an endgame player is I'm waiting 7 months to get all the Devilmon I need to unlock and play these monsters that I want to play. If I could somehow feed other monsters into them to skill them up, or if I could use 1 and 2 star monsters with, you know, 4 stars to skill them up, that'd be awesome. So that'd be a cool thing. I really like the league system in the regular arena. That's kind of neat. So I don't know. I think both developers will benefit from the other being in the marketplace because competition's good, especially in gaming, you know, especially in a game that's as old as Summoners War is. Like, it looks like they're really working on adding in new content and stuff like that, so I'm hopeful to see what'll come of it. But I'm also enjoying playing the early game of Might and Magic, and we'll see what endgame looks like by the time I get there. So, anyway, that was a long comparison, but I know some people are wondering what is going on with this game, and so I thought I would give my perspective as a Summoners War player on both games. So, I hope that was helpful, and if you have any questions about either game or what's going on, feel free to hit me up in the comments, and I will catch you next time. Take care, everybody.